First time I went skipping, I was about 15. It was actually after a gig I'd been because I was quite involved in like the punk and hardcore scene. I went with some people who were slightly older than me who did it regularly. We went to some Waitrose bins and I remember feeling like I shouldn't be there. Like it was inherently wrong to take stuff out of the bin even though I knew that I wasn't opposed to it. And just feeling like kind of like latent anxiety about what was going to happen, like could I get caught, what were the legalities, was I going to get into trouble? But it seemed, like quite an easy process once you'd got over the initial fear of actually like looking in the bin and thinking it's just going to be full of rotting food. But now it feels like it's more of a routine process where I don't really associate the act of skipping with like an intense emotional rush. It's more just, great, let's go out and get some food for tomorrow. So we're just going to go out and see what we can find. Most of the bins will just be carrier bags in front of the stores, maybe a couple of bigger ones that we can have a look in. But yeah, just going to go and have a look. Skipping is the act of making use of food that's been thrown away by stores, chains, sometimes markets, usually because it's gone out of date or it's about to go out of date, and just obtaining lots of fresh, sometimes not so fresh, food that you can cook with from that. Some days when you're skipping, you'll hardly find anything. You might find a pack of ham. But other days, it's really variable and you might find enough to feed, a house of 10 or more for a couple of days. You find fresh produce, so fruit and vegetables, dairy, meat, and a lot of bread. I think once we calculated, we'd found maybe about £300 worth of cheese. When deciding what's good to eat, it's basically just employing your senses, having a sniff if it doesn't look bad, same way you would if you had something in your fridge you weren't sure about. For a typical skip, you'd need bags. 1 or 2 is usually fine. You need an Allen key. Some shops lock their bins with a simple lock. At the bins, it's usually pretty dark. Most people use head torches, but you can just use a torch on your phone. I'm not 100% sure of what the legalities surrounding skipping are. I think, hopping over a fence, breaking into a gate, smashing open a padlock, I think those things are definitely illegal, but just walking up to a bin and taking food out of it. Some chains are definitely strongly against it. They have fenced off cages around their bins, but the people who actually work at the stores are okay with people taking food out of the bins. In markets, the attitudes of the stall holders have become a bit more aggressive. You'll go to a bin, pick something up, and the trader will be like, "What are you doing? That's mine." But you threw it away. But it's mine, you can't take it. Yeah, I think people's attitudes towards it are kind of like quite clearly displayed, and like their ignorance. Like this guy walked past just now and he said, are you stealing something? And I literally just opened up a carrier bag that was on the street. There's a big role of respectability that comes into play. When I was younger, my mum used to be insistent that I never ate anything that had gone out of date. Looking around at bins, people have this ingrained thing where they believe that it's really wrong. A bin is dirty, and if you look into it, you're just putting your hand into something that's contaminated, and thus you will become that, when that couldn't really be further from the truth. I mean, it is things that you would usually find in the supermarket in that little section that all the students go straight for because it's been reduced. It's the same, but it's free. So tonight I found maybe 150, 200 pounds worth of food in the 3 places we had a look at, and it was just lying on the street. My bag wasn't big enough to fit it all in, so it's still there, perfectly good to eat. A lot of the time when I tell people that I skip, it will kind of be either, "Oh yeah, you seem like the type of person who would do that," or people are confused. So normally I just say to people who are sceptical, there's a huge amount of food waste in London because of the culture of freshly prepared food with a lot of ingredients that have to be thrown away at the end of the day. It creates just ridiculous amounts of waste. I guess it's just an experience thing, because if you've never looked in a bin and seen lots of, fresh food that was prepared that day, you wouldn't know.